NMH at 1 highlights the news making waves ranging from current affairs, community stories, sports and economic news. Here are the news headlines. Members of Parliament recommend 20% allocation of dividends from natural resources to War Veterans Fund. Green Hydrogen Commissioner James Mnyupe highlights Namibia's COP28 journey. South Africa rescues 33 trafficking victims. I am Glenn Rashipura and this is NMH at 1. In our midday news update, as we get ready for the festive season, the Walvis Bay community gathered at the municipality center over the weekend for a magical Christmas lights countdown, turning the night into a festive wonderland. Visual News highlights local stories from across Namibia. Right after the break, we'll be getting into that.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Getting into our visual news, James Mnyupe, Namibia's Green Hydrogen Commissioner and Presidential Economic Advisor, provides a summary of Namibia's journey at COP28 so far. Let's take a look.
So the first 3 days of COP for Namibia have been very busy. Some of us, of course, are working much more closely with the presidency in the beginning. We're now right here at Namibia House, but even while we were busy with the presidency, Tatashimi and Menangula and Honorable Wendo have all been here and they've attracted a lot of visitors. We've spoken about everything from mobilizing capital to how do we work together on certification of green molecules. Today we were looking at how do we look at off-take support mechanisms. And so the Namibian House is a hive of activity for us, which is fantastic. But of course, we've also been busy outside of the Namibian House. We've been at the World Leaders Action Climate Summit up in the main hall. Yesterday we actually presented alongside the EU President Ursula von der Leyen and the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, was there on stage with our own president, where we made a global pledge to accelerate the deployment of renewable energy. We of course attended the G77 summit, which is of course really headed by Cuba at the moment, where the president, and China was there as well. And so as Namibia, we were showing solidarity with the people of Palestine, all the way with partnering from Japan. We had the governor of the Japanese Bank for International Cooperation was at the Namibian House yesterday, and they signed an MOU with the Minister of Finance to collaborate on mobilizing concessionary capital into Namibia to build some of these assets. So really, Namibia, by far, colleagues, we are a global company, a global country today. We're doing business from east to west, north to south, and it's really an exciting time to be a citizen. And so I'm very excited to be here, to be doing some of this work on your behalf.
Namibian Sun leads us into the newspaper review segment on the other side of the break.
Welcome to Active Kids, a daily TV show that sparks creativity, learning, and fun for young minds. With exciting activities and lessons, Active Kids inspires curiosity and a love for learning.
New face to the 15.
The perfect mix of play and education. Don't miss out on the fun. Tune into Active Kids on NTV every weekday at 10 o'clock and let the adventure begin.
Inside today's daily newspaper, starting off with the Namibian Sun's front page, government should allocate 20% of dividends from natural resources to the War Veterans Fund for their development and sustainability. A parliamentary committee has recommended. This recommendation is included in the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs, Defense and Securities report titled Report on a Benchmarking Visit to its portfolio counterpart committee of the Parliament of Zimbabwe. The committee is chaired by SWAPO party backbencher Levi Katoma. The government should allocate 20% shares from all natural resources dividends to the War Veterans Fund for the development and sustainability of war veterans, the report states. Moving over to the Namibian Sun's page 3, it reports the inclusion of children with disabilities should be prioritized at all Namibian schools, and barriers that prevent children with disabilities from attending school investigated. So says parliamentarian Hilaria Mukapuli in a motion submitted to Parliament. Now, children with disabilities who are not in schools are not attending for various reasons, and it is very important to investigate the barriers that prevent children with disabilities from being enrolled at schools. She said schools should be equipped with classrooms that accommodate children with severe disabilities. Now, moving over to the Republicans' front page, it reports Namib Desert Diamonds, the government's diamond marketing and sales company, last sold diamonds to its customers in September this year. The company also bought its 15% of Namibia Diamond Trading Company's diamonds, to which it is entitled, last September. Namibia is not immune to the challenges the diamond industry is currently facing and is also experiencing the ongoing decline in auction prices throughout most of 2023. Moving over to the Republicans' page 3, the national oil company NAMCO, which finds itself in a dire financial situation, is said to be engaged in secret negotiations to terminate the employment of its suspended managing director, Emmanuel Mulunga. This, according to sources in the company who claim the parties are close to reaching an agreement, with discussions now focusing on the amount Mulunga will receive to leave his post. On the Allgemeine Zeitung's front page, Namibia's President Hage Geingob also took part in the World Climate Summit in Dubai. Environment Minister Buhamba Shifeta announced that Namibia would convert many thousands of vehicles to green hydrogen by 2030 and will want to produce sufficient green electricity to meet its own needs. On the Allgemeine Zeitung's page 3, a local cement producer accuses the Namibian Competition Authority of being biased when selling the shares of a foreign company. The Competition Authority did not involve any local companies and simply authorized the sale of these shares to another foreign company without questioning. After the break, we'll continue with more newspaper review.
We are so excited to be kickstarting your morning with entertainment.
Everything was happening during this past weekend.
Yes.
Exciting news.
Wow, no, she was killing it already.
In my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with him serving the full term.
As well as keeping you informed on the issues that you need to know happening in and around our country.
Still with a newspaper review, starting off with the Namibian's front page, a Grootfontein resident arrested on charges under Namibia's 2014 anti-terrorism law will also be charged with high treason, a prosecutor said in the Windhoek Magistrates Court on Friday. Now, 31-year-old Jonah Hangula is charged with a transnational offense linked to a number of foreign countries, and with the investigation of his case still continuing, the state will also charge him with high treason at a later juncture. Moving on to page 3, the Namibian Association of Medical Aids Fund remains resolute in its stance to uphold the standard tariffs of 2023 despite criticism over a potential reduction in member benefits. NAMAF Chief Executive Stefan Shiuro says that the unique dynamics of the healthcare industry justify this decision. Over to the New Era's front page, nearly 210,000 people in Namibia are living with HIV, of whom 24,300 are young people between the ages of 15 to 24. This is according to statistics shared by health authorities in the Oshana region during World AIDS Day commemorations on Friday. The day's remembrance was centered around raising awareness of the stigma attached to children living with the virus. On the New Era's page 3, judges of the Supreme Court of Namibia dismiss an appeal brought by disgruntled members of the Vedboy clan on the designation of Solomon Vedboy as chief of the Vedboy Traditional Authority. Acting Judge of Appeal Rita Makarau, in concurrence with Deputy Chief Justice Petrus Damasep and Judge of Appeal Dave Smarts, referred the dispute back to the clan to solve it in line with the directives given by the former Ministry of Urban and Rural Development, Sophia Shaningwa, in 2017. Now, Judge Makarau, who wrote the unanimous judgment, said that once an investigating committee made recommendations to the minister is obliged to consider these recommendations and decide on how to resolve the dispute expeditiously. Over to Market Watch, South Africa has addressed most of the technical compliance deficiencies that led to it being grey-listed by the Financial Action Task Force in February 2023, though much work still needs to be done to boost the effectiveness of legislation aimed at curbing money laundering and terror financing by improving the investigation and prosecution of such crimes. After the break, we'll be getting into our economic news. Do stay with NMH at 1.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Getting into our economic news, the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela and the Republic of Namibia signed a memorandum of understanding on trade and economic cooperation to fortify bilateral ties between the two countries. Entering into this MOU with Venezuela will benefit Namibia through economic intelligence and information exchange, the development and exploitation of trade, industrial cooperation, and investment opportunities. Venezuela and Namibia established diplomatic relations on the 22nd of May 1990. With greater reason, such ties were further strengthened by the assuming of the presidency by Commander Hugo Chavez, resulting in the signing of the 22nd Cooperation Instruments in Politics, Education, Culture, Library Services, Communication, Mining, Oil, Agriculture, Housing, Women and Gender Equality, Electoral Processes, Work and Social Development. Namibian products with export potential to Venezuela include fresh grapes, dates, fish, beef, and salt and minerals. Getting into our economic indicators. The Namibian dollar trades against the British pound at 23.61, against the euro at 20.29, against the US dollar at 18.69. 2 Namibian dollars and 62 cents gets you 1 Chinese yuan. At the Namibia Stock Exchange, First Rand Namibia went down at 2%, while Lesotho Holdings went up at 0.30%. Overall index went up at 2.13%, while local index went down at 0.41%. On the commodities market, all major commodities went down, with Brent crude oil trading at 1.46%, going for $78 and 57 cents per barrel. South Africa has rescued 33 trafficking victims found in a house, while Zambia is yet to retrieve trapped minors days later. News from the African continent after the break.
Namibians are still safe.
Everywhere else, the Supreme Court said we are not going to rely on foreign judgments.
By all means, we try to not make journalists public figures, but at the end of the day, they are.
Very good evening. My name is Taiwan Jabela, your host.
With their Protestant offsprings.
But the implementation, like she's saying, is another thing.
Getting into our news from Africa, South African police have rescued 33 victims of suspected human trafficking after they were found crammed in a room in Benoni, Gauteng province. One suspect has been arrested in relation to the Sunday evening incident, the police said in a statement. It said KwaZulu-Natal detectives were investigating a trafficking syndicate after a foreign national was kidnapped in Springfield Park, Durban last week. Investigations led the police to a house in Benoni and working together with other national police specialized units. The house was tactically penetrated and 33 male victims were found crammed in the house and one suspect was arrested. It added, the ages of the victims are yet to be confirmed. The suspect will soon appear in court, the police have said. In our next story, Zambian officials have said they have been unable to locate dozens of illegal miners believed to be trapped after a mudslide at an open-cast copper mine on Friday. The accident in Zambia's northern copper-belt province occurred after heavy rains. Rescue teams have been pumping water from the underground pits at the Sicily mine in Chingola, but have not made contact with the miners. President Hakainde Hichilema, who arrived back on Sunday from the COP28 conference in Dubai, said he was saddened by the heartbreaking situation and sent his thoughts and prayers to the affected families, adding that government efforts were being directed towards the rescue efforts. The Vice President Mutale Nula Mango said the incident at the Sicily mine was a disaster. Now rescue efforts are continuing. Illegal mining is common in Zambia, one of the world's largest copper producers. After this short break, we'll be getting into your international news. Authorities in southern India closed schools and offices, halted flights and evacuated coastal areas on Monday ahead of a severe cyclonic storm expected to make landfall in the next 24 hours, bringing torrential rainfall. Cyclone Michaung is expected to land on the coast of the southern Indian state of Andhra Pradesh on Tuesday morning, the country's weather office said, with sustained winds of 90 to 100 kilometers per hour, gusting to 110 kilometers per hour. Authorities in Andhra Pradesh and neighboring Tamil Nadu were on high alert for damage, evacuating thousands of people living in coastal areas. Officials in both states said, with warning issued for fishermen not to venture out into the sea. Several areas of the city were submerged in knee-deep water, and there have been power outages since Monday morning, a Reuters witness has said. After the break, we'll be getting into local and international sports news. Do stay with NMH at 1.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
to another exciting episode of Irong Talk.
Please die weer en vertel ook vir julle waar die vis heel moontlik kan byt.
In our local sports, we start off with some great news. Philippu's Energy Tambor became the new Africa's super bantamweight title holder of the World Boxing Organization after beating Tato Bonakane of South Africa. Bonakane was knocked out by the 28-year-old Namibian in the first round of their title fight at the Windhoek Country Club on Saturday night. The Namibian needed only 2 minutes and 29 seconds to send the World Boxing Federation former Africa's super bantamweight and intercontinental champion to the canvas after a brutal combination to the South African's body and head. In our next story, the Namibia Aquatic Sports Federation awarded 9 swimmers national colors and sent them off to compete in Mauritius this week. The swimmers will compete in the 15th Africa Junior Swimming and Open Water Championships starting on Wednesday until Sunday, the 10th of December. Now, the send-off took place during the 3rd Bank Windhoek Long Course Gala at Olympia Municipal Swimming Pool on Saturday. In our third story, a record number of more than 500 athletes registered for the 2023 edition of the FNB Sandman Triathlon in Swakopmund yesterday. Athletes from as far as Germany, Spain, and Zimbabwe joined their Namibian counterparts at the Mole Beach area. The popular triathlon, which has been around for more than 34 years, lived up to its expectations with some record-shattering performances pending verification produced by Namibia's young generation of athletes, while local resident Petrus Labushka remarkably used the Sandman event to complete his 7th ultra triathlon within the space of 7 days. That's some good news indeed. After the break, we'll be getting into our international sports news.
Welcome to Active Kids, a daily TV show that sparks creativity, learning, and fun for young minds. With exciting activities and lessons, Active Kids inspires curiosity and a love for learning.
New face to the
15.
The perfect mix of play and education. Don't miss out on the fun. Tune in to Active Kids on NTV every weekday at 10 o'clock and let the adventure begin.
Getting into our international sports news, Manchester City was stunned by a depleted Tottenham as Dejan Kulusevski's 90th minute equal earned Spurs a thrilling 3-3 draw at the Etihad on Sunday. Tottenham manager Ange Postecoglou insisted he would not relent from his philosophy of relentless attacking football despite facing the might of City with a mounting injury crisis, and earned his reward. Moving on, the Springbok Sevens team showed grit and determination to win their 5th consecutive Dubai Sevens title as they outlasted Argentina 12-7 in an epic and tense final in the Emirate on Saturday. Considering the season they had last year, where they faded and on a number of occasions produced subpar performances, failing to qualify for the Olympics during the regular season and also missing out on the African qualifiers, the Blitz Box produced a performance over the 2 days that was reminiscent of their glory days. In our next story, Liverpool scored 2 late goals a minute apart, including Trent Alexander-Arnold's winner in the 88th minute in their breathless 4-3 victory over Fulham in the Premier League on Sunday. After the break, we'll be getting into the news highlights from today's broadcast.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
We are so excited to be kickstarting your morning with entertainment.
Everything was happening during this past weekend.
Yes.
Exciting news.
Wow, no, she was killing it already.
In my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with him serving the full term.
As well as keeping you informed on the issues that you need to know happening in and around our country.
You're still watching NMH at 1. Let's get into the news highlights from today's broadcast. South African police have rescued 33 victims of suspected human trafficking after they were found crammed in a room in Benoni, Gauteng province. Authorities in southern India closed schools and offices, halted flights and evacuated coastal areas ahead of a severe cyclonic storm expected to make landfall in the next 24 hours, bringing torrential rainfall. Philippu's Energy Ngitumbwa became the new Africa's super bantamweight title holder of the World Boxing Organization after beating Thato Bonakwane of South Africa. Those have been your highlights. Remember to tune in every weekday at 1 p.m. to spend your lunch hour with NMH at 1, catching up on the latest news in Namibia and beyond. From me, Glenn Rashipura. Until next time.